Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. No, it's episode 1, 2, 3. 123 episodes are in the book, and we are starting today in January 2024, season 4 of Mike and Blaine. I am Mike Blaine, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is my partner, Blaine Birch, the CEO and founder of Dryrun, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. Blaine, what's up, man?
Oh man, 2024, the first one of the year. I'm so excited. It's so fun to kick it off. We got a great topic today. We got great beer sponsors today. I'm raring to go. After a little bit of time off, although we actually did one last week, but we had a little time off mixed in there. I'm ready. I'm charged up. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, but that's why we do this. We have lifestyle-friendly businesses. That means we can take a little time off. We can go see the family. We can go hiking. You can ride your bike around Scottsdale. I mean, all of those great things that we like to do when we're not doing business, because that's what we preach. That's what we teach, is having a business that supports your lifestyle, not the other way around.
Man, someday that'll happen for me. That sounded so good. Like a little on the weekends, but it's probably sounds a little better than it is. But
I'm just a boy with a dream.
I'm a boy with what exactly you're talking about. Climbing up a hill of sand. That's what we're talking about today. There's a lot going on. So this is my one nice escape every week, man. I love it.
Wasn't that a perfect title? It's like it just came out of nowhere because you pushed me. I had something else planned, but you pushed me like we need something with more oomph. And I just said, this is what it feels like to me right now, is that I'm climbing a hill, and the hill doesn't look that big, but damn it, every time I put my foot down, it just shifts out from underneath me. It makes it harder.
Yeah. That title is story, man. I love that title because you were describing it to me. And I'm like, yeah, that's the title. Like, don't paraphrase it. That's it. And it's beauty. It's what so many of us have felt. And you're talking about it the same as me. The year kicks off and it's like, oh my God, I got a lot to do. And it's just, you're dumped off the deep end immediately.
Yeah. So, hey, before we get started, let me tell you about us, right? This is Mike and Blaine. We talk about business, beer, and BS every single episode. So if you like any of those topics, you're going to get a healthy dose of all three every single episode. And if you want to go check out more episodes, go to mikeandblaine.com, go to Apple, go to Google, wherever you get your podcast. And Blaine even does an extra special thing, puts it on YouTube. And he's been doing something else special that's really increased our following. What's that? Tell us about it.
Oh, we're putting up shorts, like a couple of shorts every day and we got all these old episodes that some people haven't seen yet. So we're putting up shorts from that and we're getting a ton of views. Like it's quite hilarious actually how many views of these shorts we get. So, and that's increasing. It's increasing our engagement, our downloads, everything. Super fun. And, I get a kick out of the shorts. Actually, I sit and watch them. I see them pop up on YouTube and I watch them, but some of them I actually kind of snicker at. So.
Dude, we even had the 4-6's Brewery like one of our stuff.
Yeah, good on you. Thanks so much, guys. That was awesome. Yeah,
that was so awesome. Yeah, that was really awesome. So anyway, speaking of beers and breweries and things like that, we've got a handful of beer sponsors. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and just shout out Neighbor Pat. Neighbor Pat came down to my house just right before this episode and brought me 3 more weeks worth of beer. Right. So, nice. He extended out his sponsorship by 3 more weeks. So we're still out into maybe February-ish or 60, gotta be getting closer to 70 weeks by now.
Easily. At some point, we're going to have to add that up because there's been precious few weeks where we haven't had sponsors. So this is we've got an epic run. I want to do it all the way through 24, all the way into 25, no breaks. Sponsors every week. And I think we're going to make it. I think we're going to make it because we also got to thank Larry Weinstein out of Houston, CPA out of Houston. Here's one of our other beer sponsors. Thank you so much, Larry. It's been supporting us for so long with our beer. It's just awesome. So I hope you're listening, Larry. Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Hey, speaking of Larry, I told you last week, I'm going to do it again this week. Did I tell you Larry has a licensed version of the 7-Minute Conversation? It
Nice.
is the 7-Minute Conversation Contractor Edition, right, by Larry Weinstein. So it is on the bookshelves right now at Amazon. If you're a contractor out there and you want to know about how to analyze financial statements from your point of view, the contractor's point of view, go check out Larry's book.
Awesome. And also, Rachel
Yeah.
Barnett. Thank you so much, Rachel, again.
Rachel Barnett has been a proud sponsor of this show for quite a while now. She went over the top. She runs a company called Gentle Frog, and her main goal in life is to teach you QuickBooks. If you're somebody out there who is running a business and you're going to like QuickBooks, I think it's easy enough to use, but I just want that little extra kick, that little extra special sauce on how to really master this program, go check out Gentle Frog and Rachel Barnett. And she teaches QuickBooks 0 to 60 in no time at all. So you can be an expert in QuickBooks with just a little bit of help from Rachel.
Beautiful.
So
And
cool.
a quick bump for what do you do? Quick bump before we get into our beer, before we get into the episode, what do you do?
Again, I'm Cashflow Mike. I'm on a mission to eliminate cash flow as the reason that businesses fail. So I have books, I have courses, I've got coaching programs, anything you need, just go to cashflowmike.com, check it out. New pricing, new stuff, new ways to engage in 2024. So I'm super excited about it.
Awesome, man. And I got to tell you a little bit about Dry Run, super quick. We're going to help you forecast your cash flow, your sales pipeline, model scenarios. We had someone come in a week or two ago, was spending a couple hours a week building out their spreadsheets, updating their spreadsheets. And so we basically caught him running in about 30 seconds. It's amazing. And he can understand what he's looking at. And then to top it off, just one of my staff was just showing him because he was talking about, just some growth scenarios. And she just did like, oh yeah, well, what, if you grew 5% a month and just did a quick compound growth scenario, like with one click. And he looked at it and he goes, I literally spent a couple hours on that yesterday. He was like so down, but he was quite excited because it's like, yeah, we can do that. So it's not like we're going to save you a little bit of time. If you're in a spreadsheet, we're going to save you hours and it's going to be beautiful, clear, easy to understand. So come talk with us, dryrun.com. We'll get you set up.
So new tagline, what would you do with the 2 hours they give you?
Yeah, exactly. That's biking into a bar. That's what I do.
There you go. So, hey, speaking of beer, what are you drinking? You already drinking? I mean, what is it?
Man, partway through already. Okay. You were talking about the slogging up the hill, and this one is from Creative Creatures in California, and it's called Faster Times because you always got to work faster. And oh my God, I love this can. It is just this monster on a roadster.
Oh yeah,
with hops flying around.
Beautiful
can.
There was a kids card series back in the 70s, 80s that reminds me of. Do you remember that? It had different characters. And I'm not talking about Garbage Pail Kids. It was a different set. It wasn't Garbage Pail Kids. It was something else.
It was, I know exactly which one. I'm pretty sure I had a sticker that was almost like that. It's that exact style. I know exactly what you're talking about. And the funny thing is I know one of the artists, just when he mentioned Garbage Pail Kids, I think his name is Joe. I met him in New York City and years ago, and we're connected on Facebook. So I still see these Garbage Pail Kids stuff comes up because he's always got these new designs. They're still doing that stuff. It's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, right on. Well, hey, to me, that's nothing but a kerfuffle. That's not our word. Our word is fiddlehopper. So I mean, we got to
look it up. And like,
yeah. We have to work that into every episode now. So our secret word is going to be fiddlehopper from now on. But I said kerfuffle because one of the beers, and I'm starting to think that Pat loves pumpkin beers. I think that's his thing because he brought me the pumpkin kerfuffle.
Nice.
Isn't that one? Isn't that a play on one of the? There's a famous artist.
Yes,
in front of it, right?
I know exactly. I can picture the painting. I'm trying to think of the artist. I should know it. I took enough art history course. Well, I skipped enough art history courses in university. Maybe that's why I don't know it.
But that's definitely from that piece. But the original piece has the guy in the bowler's hat and the the suit jacket. I guess it's a trench coat jacket, or what is that called? An overcoat, but it has an apple. This one has a pumpkin. So it's from Prairie Artisan Ales. And that makes sense. I mean, Artisan.
Oh,
so Prairie Artisan.
that's from Prairie. I love Prairie. I probably have some in the fridge right now. Some of them are pretty heavy. I love the guys at Prairie Artisan. They have the Prairie Bomb, which is a mix of like they got coffee, vanilla, chili, and chocolate. I think are the four in their Prairie Bomb, and they've got some terrific barrel aged stouts. I love Prairie, so I'm glad you got them going today. I love promoting those guys anytime.
Well, this is pretty interesting, right? Because it's a sour pumpkin spice with toasted marshmallow.
Interesting.
Right? So, all right, well, give it a shot. Yeah,
give it a try. I know Heather would love that. She loves her sours, especially these thick ones. These real, you got to roll the can first and you pour it out, and it's like they're just a different sort of thing. Really good.
You actually get the marshmallow through that. That's a really weird
nice.
kind of end to it. Yeah. All right. Very cool. All right, so let's talk about this topic, right? It's like climbing a sand hill. And if you've ever done that, if you've ever been to the beach, you've ever been to somewhere where, it just looks like a little bit of a hill. Sometimes it's just the berm. What is that? What do they call that at the beach? Or it's just like a little berm in between the beach and the land?
I think it's called a little berm. I don't know.
Okay, little berm.
That's what you call a little berm.
It's probably not. There's somebody out there that lives on a beach or close to a beach that goes, "Oh, Mike, that's called whatever that is." It's called. So, but I'm going to get it wrong, and I know what the word is, but I'll say berm, or it's what do they call that anyway?
It's like a snow drift with sand, so we can call it a sand drift.
Even the snow, right? King of the mountain. Remember trying to get your friends off the top of the mountain, and sometimes it was hard to get back up there unless you could get your foot on something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm familiar with that. Not fun.
Yeah. So here's what happened. Here's what made me think about that is that we went into the last 2 weeks of the year, and I took like a week off. Then I took kind of Christmas and the New Year's off. But that week in between New Year's and Christmas, I thought, oh, this is going to be a great time to catch up. Mm-hmm. Well, what happened was that every time I started a project, it developed into 4 more projects, right? It was like they multiplied in front of me. It was like all these rabbits that are sitting in my computer, like going, hey, here's another one. Just kept popping up. It's like whack-a-mole and I can't get ahead. And now I'm like going, oh, well, I've got a whole week where the first week of the year, I'm kind of light on stuff because I moved all my group coaching to the next week to start to give people a break.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, here it is Thursday and I'm not done. I'm already behind. I'm already ruined 2024. I've already ruined it. And we're 4 days in.
Yeah, no, I took that week off. I took the week off between Christmas and New Year's, and I'll tell you, that's just it left a ginormous list of stuff to do here. That it's right beside me on this pad of just this massive list of stuff and things that I was, probably a couple things I should have finished right before the end of the year, but I didn't. So now they're back on my plate now. And you know what it feels like? So I did a little bit of work. I've left it for years, a little bit of work on our bathrooms in the house here. And I painted both bathrooms, replaced the light fixtures. I got faucets coming tomorrow. I got to swap those out. And so I bought this paint and it was like, yeah, you can cover in one coat. This is like some amazing paint, covers in one coat. That's what they're saying. Well, it's kind of a darkish gray color over white walls. Doesn't cover in one coat. And when I was cutting it in, wasn't even bloody close to one coat. It was 3 coats, and that's kind of what it felt like. Was when you're climbing, so you paint and you're thinking, oh, it's gonna, and then I'm like, oh, this is gonna take a while, and it was like this sinking feeling of, oh shit, this should have just been a couple of afternoons over the holidays, and now I'm just gonna be in here grinding it out because now that I've started, you kind of got to finish, and it was a little painful, to be honest.
That's exactly what happened to me. The most dangerous sentence in my vocabulary is, hey, it'd be cool. Every time I say that, that's at least a month's worth of work.
Yeah.
That one sentence equals 1 month's worth of work. So I'm pretty sure of that. So I thought, all right, so I'm celebrating an anniversary this week too. It is 1 year of cash flow, Mike. 1 year.
Nice.
Yeah, right.
Congrats.
So that's pretty cool. So celebrating that this week. And so because of that, I'm like going, hey, I think I'm legit now. I'm going to convert my business structure from sole proprietor to LLC, right? Because I'm like, okay, it's no longer kind of a hobby. See if I can get this thing off the ground. Let's go ahead and build structure around it the right way.
Yeah.
Well, when you make that decision, when I said, it'd be cool if we just make this into an LLC and I pay myself a salary and those type of things. Well, that set off a chain reaction of tax ID numbers, tax accounts, new bank accounts. I mean, all of these things. When I say it would just multiply, like that one damn sentence, that one decision created a whole mountain of stuff. So I feel like I'm still wading through that. And it's just, I know I've done it 14 times and I should have known, but man, I forgot how much work it really is.
Yeah. But you said it right. Like, you're doing it right, and that's the thing that these things pay off. These things pay off. Do it right. That was a bit of our mantra. This, in 23, and it's carried right into 24. Do it right, not fast. And it's important to do it right, to set up like you're doing, like set it up right, get the bank account, do it, because later it gets harder. Later it gets, more complicated. So it's get her done. I was talking with an entrepreneur a couple of weeks ago. In fact, he's on another podcast I'm on, and he said no matter like what he's doing, he always pictures his business as enormous, like big business. Even when he's starting, even when he was small, he pictured it as we are a big business. And he put in the systems and processes to deal with that. And they grew fast. And as they grew fast, it was under control because they always picture it as a big business. There was no shortcuts, right?
That's good advice, right? That's good advice. Now, some people listening to this are going to be surprised to go, what do you mean you're only a year old? Because some people that know me, they're like going, we've known you've been doing this for 15 years. Well, that's true, but I've always kind of did it as like a little side hustle, like teach a course here, talk about it there. Yeah. This is the first time I made the decision saying, all I'm going to do is this. Yeah. Right. So to me, my birthday is when I made that decision, or my anniversary, I guess, is when I made that decision saying, this is the year 2023 that all I'm going to do is this from now on.
Yeah. And it's been a good decision. Perfect decision. And it's helped a lot of businesses. So that's a really good thing.
I have never built a company that was so well received as fast as this was. Here's why. I started with the problem. I don't know how many times we talked about that, right? So I didn't start with, I have an idea. I started with, these people have a problem. My clients, my ideal client has this problem. And I happen to have a methodology, a technique that solves the problem. Yeah. The hardest part of this year were answering two questions. One was, what is it? What do I do? Right? How do I deliver this technique, this methodology? And two, what is the message? And it took damn near 12 months for me to be able to spout that off to where it makes sense to somebody else.
Yeah.
I've always had the problem of having, it's simple as hard. I've always had the problem of, I have a great idea, I get it, it makes sense, but I can't find the words to tell you about it, right? To where it makes sense.
And that's every business owner's problem. Like it's hard. And sometimes it's people outside that actually they can simplify it because they know so little about it in a way, right? When you know too much about it, it's so easy to overcomplicate things, and that leads to that climb. It leads to that slog, right? Like everything is harder when it's inside your own walls, right?
Yeah. Well, here's something that made me think of this topic today. For the first time in this business, I had to create a to-do list, right? What I'm saying is, oh my God, I just had 3 conversations and I made promises to 3 different people. and I'm working on this other stuff at the same time. If I don't write this down, because sometimes I don't have to write stuff down. I just like, I get it and I'll knock it out real fast and it'll be done. I got to start writing things down.
I don't know how you do it because I live in a book. I like a big giant notebook. It's a big big quill ring binder.
Yeah, right.
And I have my list on here. It's funny because I don't use digital for this list. I have my list on here. I put the date at the top, and it's funny because it's of course all colorful and everything. Because a little of my designer comes through, but I have this list, and then I start jotting notes over top of it, and I'm scratching stuff out, and I'm writing more stuff down. It becomes messier and messier, and then the next day I start the list again, and I write it down almost every day. Sometimes I'll just change the date, but I write it down every day because it's just this mental thing of here's what I got to accomplish, and it's a good reminder. Yep, got to do that, got to do that, got to do that, and I prioritize, and I just grind my way through this list.
All right, so I started using it digital because if you're looking at YouTube, I'm showing you my notes here, but I'll get past that page and, I got to go back and figure out where I took that note. Who did I promise what to, and I'm going back through and going to make sure. And I try to go backwards, 3 or 4 or 5 pages once a week to make sure I didn't miss something. But I'm just saying there are certain times like yesterday I was on a call. I was getting my car inspected, vehicle registration stuff, and on a call with somebody where we decided to do a joint webinar. Well, I'm not really in a position where I can just take notes. I'm not in front of a computer. I'm actually had a phone call, an old-fashioned phone call, if you can imagine that. So I'm just talking. I'm like, I should be able to remember that I need to come up with 3, 4, 5 questions to kind of structure this webinar. What are we going to talk about? I can remember that. Well, today I got Profit First to want to promote that co-webinar. Profit First wants to promote it because I'm just going to tell you who it is. Jamel Smith and I are going to do one in February. And he runs kind of a virtual CFO firm out of Atlanta, right? And he's a Profit First professional. And I just mentioned it in my quarterly checkup call with Profit First because I'm one of their partners. And they go, "Oh, we'd love to promote that for both of you guys." I'm like going, "Oh, nice. Shit, I better start writing this down." Because now it isn't just I owe Jamel something. Now I owe them something on the same topic because they want to know what to promote. What is it? Give me some graphics. Give me some verbiage. Give me this type of stuff. So now I've got 2 different to-dos for one event. And so I'm like, I better write it down.
Yep. And like I because of that problem, when you're looking back trying to find stuff, first of all, that's why I like a notebook, because it's a historic record, right? I didn't delete something by mistake, but that's why I retranscribe this every day or two. It only takes me like a minute, but it's just jotting this down again, putting the date at the top. And I'm like, here's the stuff I got to do. And sometimes I reprioritize my list and I'll just change like my little order of things. And I just found that it works for me. And anytime I've tried to switch to some app or digital, like I have to-do lists all over my phone, but they're not the business to-do list. My business to-do list is on this pad of paper. And it just helps me immensely to just be able to look over, see it right there, and scroll notes when I'm on a Zoom call and talking with people and stuff. I find it works much better for me. And I don't like to do every single thing digital. I have the analog record player, the analog watch. I like some analog mixed in, because otherwise it's like everything's binging at me all freaking day long, right?
Hey, speaking of that, have you been to these Zoom meetings where the robots are showing up, and there's more robots sometimes than there are real people? Yeah.
Robot note taker showed up to the meeting, and they're like, "Well, the robot was on time. How come the person couldn't be?"
Look, yeah. I do a Wednesday morning thing, and some people send the robots, and I'm like, "We got 5 robots and 6 people," or whatever it is. I just make up a number, but I'm like, "There's as many robots as there are," and sometimes somebody will show up with a robot. I'm like, "Well, who's doing the thinking today? You or the robot?"
Yeah, exactly. That's. I'm really curious if it actually is ever used, or if it ends up being a dumping ground of notes that they never go back to. I don't really know, but I find that there's this problem where you don't take enough notes. Like you said, okay, I should have wrote that down, or I got to write this down. The flip side of it is it becomes a dumping ground, and it can make more work because there'll be a bunch of stuff that you never see. Video recordings and all of these notes are piled up. You never use them, but if you ever go to look for something, you can't find anything because you've got this massive dumping ground of crap. And so that's the other danger, right?
Yeah, I tend to agree with that because I rarely go back and look at the notes, and I use a Voma or whatever just on Zoom. But I asked people that last week. I say, hey, do you guys, when you do this, do you ever go back and look at it? And some people say, yeah, because they can go through a half-hour meeting in 4 or 5 minutes, if that. And just catch keywords, catch any action items that maybe they want to take part in, or those type of things. So I guess it could be a time saver. So I want to build a robot that does my part of the meeting. That
exactly.
I just send my robot to start the meeting and to host the meeting, and then it reports back to me on what I did.
Yeah, Mike Hedrum. You'll come on. You're a little like I'm casual Mike. Your head will snap it around like old Max Hedrum.
You know it's coming.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Where we're just going to be able to, so Chad's going to write the script for the AI robot that goes to the meeting. It's going to be your picture with a mouth that kind of moves, and just like you said, Max Headroom type style. And I guess the other robots will respond. That's going to be the hard part, getting the other robots to respond. So you'd have to initially not look for engagement. Yeah,
maybe not for long, but you never know. I'm starting to question. I don't think Chad is as far ahead in AI as everyone kind of thinks. When, I was trying to get a little help on something today, and just like help me just do a rough draft and outlining some stuff, and I'm like, oh, you're bad at this. You're really bad at this. It was just like, I don't know if it's actually helping me get ahead or if it's making more work.
Hey, wait a second. I thought we added an intern last week. It was we got Chad already, but then we added 4, which we called like Chelsea or something.
Oh yeah. So I wonder if I was talking with Chad or Chelsea today. I'm going to check because now I'm curious, because it might have been Chad, because it kind of was a bit like, oh no, it was Chelsea. Chelsea, you weren't helping me much today. That was chat 4. I don't know. I was a little disappointed today with the help, and I kept asking and trying to change, and just like, can you do this? No, adjust it this way, adjust it that way. Can you help me with this? And it just was like, I'll just do it myself. And so it was one of those days where it just felt like it wasn't getting anywhere.
All right. So if you're new to the show, when we talk about intern Chad or intern Chelsea, we're really talking about Chat GPT, either 3.5 or 4. So which one tells us something? Because what happened is we can't afford an intern. Because we can't afford an intern, we had to lean on the resources, and
I would
Chad
say completely different, that we can afford an intern, and it's $20 a month. So
that's true. We can't afford Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chad, we can totally afford.
Chad was free. It was just like free. And you know what? I'm going to ask. I never did ask Chelsea what she thought of Fiddle Hopper. I'm just gonna ask her, because this is something we want to do every episode, is work that in. Describe Fiddle Hopper.
All right. So Fiddle Hopper being the secret word. Being the secret word is a word that my grandfather used for just about anything. He'd say, hey, hand me that fiddle hopper over there. And I'd have to figure out what fiddle hopper he was talking about. Was it the hammer? Was it the screwdriver? Was it his beer? I don't know.
I'm telling her now, because she, like I said, fiddle hopper isn't a recognized term in standard English or well-known cultural references. And I'm like, well, let me tell you about fiddle hopper. And I'm going to tell her it's a term used to substitute nearly anything when the word doesn't come to mind. Okay, now Thank you
Like
for the clarification. Fiddle hopper can then be described as a placeholder term used when the actual word for something slips the mind. It's akin to thingamajig, whatchamacallit, or doodad in English. Okay,
yeah,
so
there you go.
I've actually turned. She now, Chelsea now knows what fiddle hopper is. You can train Chad and Chelsea just by telling them. Let me tell you. And so I'm curious that where, like, if someone asks, like, for something like, what is another way to do a whatchamacallit or doodad, if fiddle hopper will now come up.
Hey, speaking of another way to do things, if you're using spreadsheets to do your cash flow forecasting, what's another way to do that?
Oh man, you want to come talk with us at dryrun.com. I gotta tell you, I don't think people really understand how much hassle and time we can save. There's a study that said over 80% of spreadsheets have an error. Basically, they all have an error. And you can come to Dry Run, and if you've been spending hours a week, sometimes less than that, but we talk with people and we find out they're spending a lot of time building up forecasts with their cash flow, their sales, modeling scenarios, trying to figure out where the heck they're going as a business. And then they come into Dry Run and we can get them set up in literally a couple of minutes. We connect with your accounting file, we bring everything in, we build it all out, and you can start modeling out all of those what ifs that are rolling around your mind for 2024 to figure out where you're going. So come and talk with us at dryrun.com and we will get you all set up.
There you go. So every episode, again, I'm trying to educate now. It's season 4. We got, maybe some new people coming in there. Fiddle hopper, again, I told you what that is. What just happened around the 30-minute mark, every single episode, you're going to hear from our sponsor, right? And in this case, it was Dry Run. And believe it or not, we are super close. We are just so close to having a new title sponsor. I'm excited. We've been working on this one for a while. I got samples from them. Blaine got samples from them. I mean, that's how close we are. We're already sampling the product because we will not talk about anybody's product unless we can really tell you what we feel. Just won't do it.
Yeah, we have to try it. We that was a requirement. Like, we need to try it. So they've sent it, tried it, and now we're talking with them to see, like, do we go forward with this? And I think we're ultra close. So this is super excited. We're going to roll that out. But I think it's a month-long sponsor. So you guys, if you want to get in front of a pile of people, and who listens to us? Entrepreneurs, business owners. If you want to get in front of them, come talk with us. And also, if you want to buy us a beer, we'll mention you too. So our beer sponsors are so valued because, we love that. Absolutely love that.
Hey, their sponsorship is 6 episodes, right? This is a big deal. It's 6 episodes long.
6.
So it's
a month and a half.
Yeah. 6, yeah. So
a month and a half. So yeah, there's we're going to cover 6 episodes there. So that's going to be a fun one. And also you can get mentioned, just buy us a beer, go to mikeandblaine.com, buy us a beer. We will mention you as a sponsor. And man, if you're a brewery out there, if you're wondering how much it costs to be a sponsor of the Beer Biz and BS, like literally we talk about beer, just buy us a beer. Literally just buy us a beer. Come and drop your beer off and we will talk about you because we love to support small independent brewers.
There you go. So I'm back to climbing this sandhill, right? Mm-hmm. So every single thing that's happened to me over the last 2 weeks that makes me feel like I'm not making progress is my own decision. I took on a project. I chose to transition to a sole proprietorship, or to an LLC from a sole proprietorship. I also chose at the same time, because I'm a glutton, to change my packages, right? Like, you know, would make it easier to make the change to LLC. Also change your packages, and then when you present them, right? So I have a website project going on. I've got an administration project going on, and I'm installing new features into the app. So all 3 major things are happening at the same time, which leads me to, I never feel like I'm getting ahead, because each one of those presents its own challenges, its own problem. Where you hit a brick wall, things you didn't anticipate happening, to whereas you got to make adjustments. And that's what gives me that feeling.
Well, and like the thing is that there's times where you do change for sake of change, or you do change that's not validated and untested. I know we've talked about that before, and that's never a good idea. But what you're doing is really necessary, and we did a lot of changes to dry run in 23. We knew they were necessary, and it was a slog, and it was pulling off a band-aid, and it was hard because we knew the people that needed us the most were a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more upmarket from where we were. We needed to make changes in our acquisition, in an approach, in the software itself. We made some massive adjustments and like improvements or advancements, I suppose, in the software. But it was the right thing to do. And now that we look back and we've kicked off 24, we're like, that was the right thing to do. Like, so there's times where, you're getting into a slog, but that's how we're going to thrive. It's going to pay off. You can't stop short. You just gotta go. That's where we're going. And that's how we got to do it.
Yeah. I think what the resistance always is, oh my God, this is an investment. And I'm not talking about just about money. It takes man hours, it takes, brain power. It takes all of this other investment to come together, because even slight changes in a product like dry run, dude, it isn't just contained inside the code. It's contained in the message. It's contained in a blog article. It's contained in,
Everywhere.
the way your website looks. I mean, the way you conduct demos. I mean, everything has to change for the slightest change inside a product. I mean, that's what I know about SaaS, right?
Yeah, and we did some major ones, which means that it was major. All of that, trying to test it out, validate it, explain it to people, learn from them, go back and go, okay, yeah, technically it's working, but they're not understanding, so we got to change this and we've got to do that. And oh my God, it is such a slog. And but you have to be brave. You have to do what you need to do to be able to move forward. Again, like think big and think about how you can really thrive. And you're just going to have to take some of the lumps sometimes, right?
Oh, that was so, I just pulled out another notebook, because when you said think big, I started creating this little notebook of just things that I tell myself, right? It's just little things, and nobody knows I do this. I guess I do now, but I do this, but I name it impactful statements, right? That's the name of my little notebook, impactful statements. But the first thing I told myself was, until you get a vision so big that it impacts others, you will not be able to get past your own issues. That's me talking to me, right? That's why it's impactful. Yeah. Until I get a vision that's so big that it impacts somebody else, I'm not going to be able to get past my own issues.
Yeah.
Man, when you said that, think big, that's what I think about.
Yeah. That should be on the Facebook page. You gotta drop that on there. That's a beauty one right there, man. That's yeah, it's I like that idea, that little notebook of because I actually do sometimes write those things, like when they pop into my head, I put them on my notes app on my phone, right? I just like jot them down, and then I find them later and go, yeah, that was good. That was something important, right?
Well, I started this when I started Cashflow Mike, right? And nobody, nobody knows I do this. It's going to be in my desk drawer. So one of these days I'm going to pass and my kids are going to find it.
Yeah.
And they're going to, they're going to be something. I might even write in the beginning a little message to them about, hey, this is the way I was thinking then. Right.
Yeah. And you know what's going to happen is you're going to come in here next Thursday. You're going to pull that list out and that book out, and you're going to open it up, and Courtney will have written, Mike, pick up some eggs and bacon and some bread at the store.
Yeah. She's going to use the wrong notebook. They leave me a note.
Yeah. Actually, like, that's the one. This is where he'll find it.
He'll definitely look. I only pull that out when something hits me, though. Right? Like, what was the last one I pulled out? And it's interesting because we actually did a whole season just on quotes. Remember that? Season 2.
Yeah, we did. I forget about that. Yeah, that was a fun season. Yeah.
So this, again, talking to me, there is a purpose in your plan, right? So okay. It's just little, like, yeah, go ahead.
I misread that. You held up to, for people that are listening, you held it up to the camera and there's a purpose in the plan. I misread it as there's a purpose in the pain.
Oh yeah. Oh, it is said pain.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
You're right.
Okay, so I actually read it right. So
Damn it, where's my glasses at?
you got two good quotes there, but they mean something totally different. So you got two good quotes there. And
That says pain. Yeah, that says pain.
pain.
So
You
there's
know
a
what?
purpose in the pain. The reason why I do things like give too much on my shoulders is that's the pain. There's a purpose in the pain.
You know what I'm going to tell myself? Like, okay, so last night after dinner, I needed that quote. I really needed that quote. There's a purpose in the pain. And I needed that because we were on our way to Costco. And it was painful going through Costco. And, oh my God. You know, they got the giant lineup and we're buying way too much shit. Now just, that's a purpose.
So how embarrassing is that? I have my quote that I wrote in my book and I'm reading it directly from my book and I misread it because, well, I either assumed that's what it was going to say or I didn't have these glasses on.
I think it's probably poor penmanship because if you looked at my book, I can put it up here and no one will be able to read it because it's just like scrawls of crap on there. Like you can't read.
Yeah, but you saw it over the internet.
That's true, and I did, and I read it correctly. So that's something there.
That is so funny, right? You even read my handwriting. So, but anyway, the purpose there is me. When you're a sole proprietor or you're a one-man LLC, you don't have somebody that tells you what to do, that tells you can do something, that tells you can't do something, that tells you when you're right, that tells you when you're wrong.
Yeah.
You have to find ways to motivate yourself. You have to be the nobody. Nobody told me to do this. Nobody told me to do that. Nobody said I could or couldn't. You have to be the nobody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? The nobody in your business.
Yeah. But that's, I don't know how much different is it when you have the people. Because you still have to drive, you still have to motivate, you still have these days where you're slogging up the hill, right? Like you got to find a way.
Okay, so here's what I like about having employees that I don't have now, right? And that I've had in the past. Mm-hmm. I get instant feedback if something may be working or not. Mm-hmm. When it's me, I have to push it out into the world to be able to know if it's good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
If otherwise, when I had a team and I had people internally, we could war game it. We could test the idea. We could, do different things before we actually introduced it to the public.
Yeah.
I don't have as much luxury in that unless I want to, I guess, invest in just a sounding board friend. Maybe there's a podcast.
There's a business idea there where you could actually hire someone to debate your idea. You just like $20 an hour. So you're soundingboard.com.
Yeah. Or yeah. That works. Devil's Advocate. I think we just did it. Let me look. Is there a soundingboard.com already?
Masterdebater.com.
You're not supposed to say that. That sounds dirty when you say it that way.
No, hey, it's your dirty mind. I was right on point there.
There is a soundingboard.com, but it's about podcasting about freedom and liberty. So can't do that.
Yeah, no. But there is value to that. Like we talk about that in our business quite often, the value of meaningful debate. So everything that we do, we acid test, we talk about, we debate, and it is such an important part of our culture that we debate things, and we debate things as there's nothing personal. There's nothing emotional. Sometimes they'll get a little emotional, but it's not, it's amazing how our team can just kind of go like, debate with all this passion and then go, yeah, that is better. Let's do that. But it gets us to these answers quick, and it gets acid tested. See, acid tested. There's acidtested.com. That may be another one. I don't know.
Like, so check this out, though. You could go Devil's Advocate, and for 99 cents, you could do devilsadvocate.online. I'll debate anything online with you for $20 an hour. Right? No, it can't be $20 an hour because, maybe you can't debate for a whole hour on a subject.
Well, you know what? Let me debate.
Maybe it would be $5 a session.
I'm just going to ask Chelsea. Okay, debate me on this. I'm drawing a blank. Let me see. Okay. Craft beer is better than
It's going to be a
any
preference.
big box shit. Let me just see what it comes up with. Oh, that's so funny. We can have a friendly debate on the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's debating herself. She's doing something like pro craft beer and against craft beer.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't do that at Devil's App. I should buy it just so and put up like a question with a paywall, just a text field with a paywall. It says, enter your questions here. I will be played devil's advocate for $5, right?
I'm now having an argument. It's transcending debate into argument because she thinks that both sides have merit. I'm like, no, it doesn't. she understands my perspective. All right, so interesting. Like Chelsea wasn't that helpful earlier today, but she sure knows how to debate on the merits of craft beer. So.
Yeah. So, all right. So tell me about this. All right. So now I've got this big list of stuff that I'm trying to do, goals, because I'm even trying to establish what's a reasonable goal for 2024. And I'm not just talking about revenue. I'm talking about other things I want to accomplish in 2024. And do you combine yours or do you keep two lists? Like, here's what I want to do in personal life. Here's what I want to do in business life. Or are they kind of weaved?
No, I got a to-do list for business, but I will say I did a video earlier today, and part of my video, I actually say that the goals are not very worthwhile.
Okay.
And people will complain about that, I'm sure, but I actually don't think goals are that essential. And let me tell you why. Like, I think you have to have a goal, but it's a very basic prerequisite. Like you get a goal in mind. The thing is, and this is where it changed my view on this. And it's silly because it was a simple meme online, and it was a picture of a target, and there's an arrow in the bullseye, and there's an arrow off to the side, and all it said was, winners and losers have the same goal. What it said to me was, because too many people focus on this goal, they think if they have a goal, it's going to happen. That's all it is. You just need the goal. That's all you got to do. It's not. It's the grind. It's the hustle. It's the systems and processes that make you either a winner or a loser. So everyone wants to win the Super Bowl. Everyone wants to win the Stanley Cup. But it's that grind of getting the right players and the right coaches and the right training and the right practice and everything else. Is all of this other stuff, because the goal is the same, right?
Yeah. None of us have a goal of running our business into the ground.
No, but even like, I want to double my revenue. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but how the hell are you going to do that? Like, it's not going to happen without all of the bridge is the systems and processes. It's all of the stuff that you learn, you understand. Quality over quantity. Like I said before, do it right, not fast. Do it right. Build your business, build your systems, build your processes. That's going to get you to that goal. Just having the goal and running around like a chicken with its head cut off is not going to do it.
Well, all right. So 1 year in, this is a great time for me to have this conversation because 1 year in, I can say this. Maybe it's not a goal, but I have an expectation that I should do as much in revenue as I did this year.
Mm-hmm.
I should expect that, right?
Yeah, you can expect it, but your goal, like you do want to have a goal in mind. You want to say, I want to, again, as an early stage, like startup, you might be like, I want to double my revenue this year. I want to do, but that's, it's nice. You know what it reminds me of? It's a bit of the value of an idea for startups. People overvalue the idea. No, you have to have an idea. It's the prerequisite. If you have a stupid idea, you're bound to fail. But the difference between the winners and the losers is that none of it is based on the idea. It's all based on the execution. If you have a good idea, it's all based on execution, right?
Man, you don't know how true that is. You know, it really is. I mean, the idea is great, but it only starts the process.
Yeah. And you know
All
what?
the work,
50 other
happens
people.
after.
Exactly. 50 other people have the same bloody idea as you. Like, it's all in execution. It's all in execution. And you don't believe me. Okay, here's how cheap ideas are. So the idea of the space elevator. You know, there's this idea that you could run a cable up to space. You could just basically run an elevator, and you could deploy stuff into without having to use rockets. You could just use this elevator, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So someone coming up with the idea it might have been on Star Trek. Who cares? It's an idea. You could have 1,000 people who could come up with the same idea. You know how hard it is to execute on that? Someone that actually accomplishes that, they deserve all the cred, because the idea is, that's what I'm saying is, when you have this giant idea, the idea is so easy to come up with a big idea.
You mentioned space. All right, I'm gonna add a healthy dose of BS on this right now.
All right.
You mentioned space. I saw an article last week. When you're doing just reading on just BS that you see,
Yeah.
it was about the deepest holes ever dug.
Okay.
Think about that. People are trying to dig as far. Think about it. We've been into space. It's damn harder to go into the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it took like 40 or 50 years, but there's a hole, and it's a Russian name. I can't. It's in the Siberian something or another in Russia. But they went like 49,000 feet into the Earth. They had a goal of like 60,000. It's 49,000 feet, right? So I mean, it's massive amount of depth.
Yep.
I think the U.S. had done one somewhere that went 30 some thousand. So the Russians have been digging. And it's taken them like 40, 50 years to get there.
Yeah.
And some of the things they expected weren't what they found.
Yes. But do you realize how insignificant that is?
Yeah. That's miles. That's like doesn't even get you across your town.
It's absolutely nothing. This I heard someone say one time that there's two stats that told me how insignificant 49,000 feet is. One is, if you take a pencil and draw a circle on a piece of paper, the pencil line is thicker than the atmosphere of Earth.
Yeah.
And two, if Earth was the size of a cue ball, it would be just as smooth. So when you're talking about a 49,000 foot, like that's like Mount Everest or whatever, right? You're not even getting through the enamel on the ball. So people think that they've dug a hole, like, part way into the Earth. Is like, no, they barely made a dent.
Yeah, because 5,380 feet is a mile.
Yeah.
So it's like a 9-mile hole. So if you think about linear, just driving somewhere 9 miles, we don't even think about that as anything. You bike more than that in a day.
Yeah, you can't even picture that on, like, if you had a globe, like one of those globes that's sitting on your desk rotating around, you can't see 10 miles. You can't, like, it's too small. You can't see 10 miles. Like, it's hard to imagine how, and for those of you out there that are like, you can look it up on Google, and could very well be completely wrong, because I don't. This is stuff I just like in my head, roll it around the back of my head. But it doesn't take much to realize, like, 10 miles on the globe is really not very much. Like it's even I read one day that they said that this whole thing about being able to see the Great Wall of China from space is actually bullshit. You actually can't see it from space. It's too small. Like, it's long, of course, but it's too small. You can't actually see it. So I found that kind of interesting. So.
Yeah. So here's what they found, though. They found like 15,000 feet down or so. They found like this marine life fossilization, right? Stuff they didn't expect to see in the middle of what was only land. Mm-hmm. But there's fossilized marine life. Additionally, they said what they expected was granite to be not as far down and it go to like some other type of rock type. I can't remember. Granite went farther than they thought it was. And the rock substance at 40 some thousand feet turns to like a plastic, and it gets so hot that they can't put tools down there. They're done. There's nothing we can do. It gets too hot, and it fucks up the tools.
That's bizarre.
But it turns, it's like a plastic type of material that they're calling it. That was the word they used in the article, was it's like a plastic rock.
That's so bizarre because it's barely going anywhere. Like it's barely into the ground, right? Like it's bizarre.
Yeah, but that's not saying the Earth's core is made of plastic. I don't want people to go like Mike said. This the Earth's core is made of plastic. No, they're just saying that the rock material there is of a. I'm going to call it goo. If they're going to plastic, I'm going to call it like goo, and they can't get material down there. The bores that we have currently don't work on whatever's down there.
I want to know, like, what is the diameter of the Earth? Because I want to know, like, what did it? Oh, come on. Okay, Chelsea. Well, it varies depending on where you are. I don't need exact. Like, give me just roughly. Okay, the polar diameter, which is one pole to the other, is 12,714 kilometers, which is 7,900 miles. So 8,000 miles from pole to pole. And what did they do? You said 5?
No. They did 49,000 feet, which is 9 miles. 9 miles.
Okay. Yeah. So 9 miles, and the center of the Earth would be about 4,000. So if you want to know what's in the center of the Earth, you are 4,000 miles short. Like you're just like, you're not even scratching the surface. 10 miles deep out of, just to get to the middle is 4,000 miles. Yeah. Think about that. That's across like North America, of course. Like that's how far you could drive for like 30 hours at like 90 miles an hour. And you would basically be in the middle of the Earth.
Yeah. So coming up on the top of the hour here, we're if you try to go to the beach and you're grinding, trying to climb this sand hill, and you decide it might be easier to dig a hole.
Nope.
This is proof that it's not going to be easier to dig the hole. So stop digging a hole for yourself with your cash flow. Stop digging a hole for yourself with your business and your personal life, and just get on that hill and start climbing.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was slick. I'm pretty happy with that.
That was beautiful. And I'm going to wreck it right now because I haven't seen this show in probably 15 years. But the one quote I remember from The Simpsons was that they dug a hole and they were stuck in the bottom. And one of the guys said to the other guy, said, "Dig up, stupid." That was
That's true. That's true. So
there you go.
Hey, this is our first episode of season 4 of Mike and Blaine. I am Mike Blaine. That is Blaine Birch. And if you want more from us, go to mikeandblaine.com, where you can
buy us a beer. Make sure you buy us a beer. You can also buy merchandise. We've got shirts. We got all kinds of mugs. We got all kinds of cool stuff. And make sure that you're liking us, you're following us. I refuse to say smash that like button because that's but if you like us, follow us, subscribe to us. Don't miss an episode. We're going to be back next week, but make sure you go buy us a beer, and you'll find it's a hilariously cheap sponsorship.
Hey, I will be right here next week climbing this sand hill with you, man.
Absolutely. Till next week. It's 124 next week. Come and join us.